is clicked.
We're going to be live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Handing it off to you, Casey.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, LinkedIn. Casey here with my friend Trisha. We've been doing this AI series every Thursday for months now. It started with us just unboxing tools, giving our honest reactions, seeing what actually worked. And then we shifted. We started talking to sales reps about how they're using AI and HubSpot because honestly, we wanted to know if what we're excited about in marketing was landing the same way for sales and how we could get sales reps to get more data into HubSpot to help marketing do their job better. And now we're at the end of the year, and it feels like the right time to zoom out and answer the question, what are we actually bringing into 2026? Not what's shiny, not what HubSpot's pushing, what we are adopting based on everything we tested and everyone we talked to. So that's what today is, our short list, the tools that stuck, the strategies that worked, and the stuff that we're leaving behind. Let's dig in. How are you doing today, Trisha?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing well. I had a win today, and so I'm taking it. I talked to my husband before I got on here, and he said, just it feels like time to take a nap. You can get one win in a day. Call it a day.
Do you ever feel like, especially if it's a really hard one win, or like the end of a big project, like when I get to that point, I often have no mental capacity to really do anything of substance the rest of the day. And the bigger the thing is, the less brain power I have for anything else that could happen.
I agree. I mean, so I already told you in the pre-show, but my win was like a personal family win, and it's something I've been working on for like months. Like I've been trying to get this done for months. And I do just feel like I've just done it for the day. Like why should I keep pushing? I've pushed for months. So yeah, I agree with that. Along that same thread, so Trisha, it's a full year now that you've been
Almost. It was
consulting
January.
on your own. It was January?
Yeah, but not really until June. So it's really only like 6 months that I've been for real freelancing.
Well, I did want to ask, like, along those same lines, do you feel like you have a preference personally in project style work, whether it's retainer work or that kind of like, this is the project work?
I have a very strong preference, which is for I like being ongoing support. It takes, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to me intellectually to spend a lot of time building relationships with teams to like give them a thing that which is very complicated
Mhm.
to manage anyway,
Mhm.
and then just like walk away from that.
Mhm.
And because I've always been in the mode of sort of constant optimization, like there is no end to what you can accomplish
Mhm.
and optimize in HubSpot. There's no end. And I don't know, I really like building off of where you are now, starting over again and starting over again. That's not my jam. How about you?
I like
You're
project
pivoting.
yeah, but I like project work. I'm not very I'm not very good at it because of what you just said, kind of. You're making me realize why I'm not so good at it, is, like, you build this relationship, and, like, the type of work that we do, it isn't the type of thing you can just, like, wave and walk away from, but I like project work because I am a big to-do list person, and I love when something's, like, off my to-do list. Like, it's over. Like, I did it. There's no better feeling to me than that, and with ongoing projects, you're
But
never like, you're
that's what a sauna board is for, because there's always like, and then it also becomes your documentation for the CRM, or something that you could feed into AI to create some really good documentation of like, here are all the decisions that were made through the year. Here's what needs.
but it just keeps going.
I see. Well, life keeps going, Casey. Those dishes are always there, right? Like,
I
I don't
just
know. I'm old enough that I've just embraced that aspect of life is
I
never
just
gonna
I
change.
just want a break.
I feel that too. I feel that too, and I want you to
Like, I
have
just
that
wanna
break.
get to the end of the list.
It's a good feeling. Good feeling, and then you can't do anything for the rest of the day. It's
Yeah,
not good a feeling.
yeah. So, but that's not actually what we came here to talk about. So, you asked ChatGPT, your ChatGPT, um, how you've been using AI this year, and, what did you find? What did you find?
What it told me, and as I was telling you, um, be because ChatGPT does not remember every conversation, there was
Mhm,
something that happened like 3 weeks ago where it said, "We can," and I said, "Please, yes," but, that was recent. Um, ChatGPT says that I'm mainly using it for call and account intelligence, enrichment, workflow acceleration, and by that, I would mean just finding the fastest way to build things, approaching every project as like, okay, this is how I used to do it. What's the fastest, most efficient way I can do it now?
mhm,
And then data hygiene as well. So I've used it a lot for cleaning data before I do a thing with data.
mhm. Um, and you primarily use ChatGPT?
I use both ChatGPT and Claude.
Okay, alright. That was my yeah, cool. So I did not ask my ChatGPT or my Claude, but, um, because you were more prepared going into this than I am, I do know that um I'm using mostly Claude now with a little bit of ChatGPT, and really the reason for that is I'm paying for Claude, I'm not paying for ChatGPT, and projects, I'm, kinda mad that I'm paying for Claude. I've come out and I've said so many times that I don't like paying for stuff. I don't. And so I'm mad that I'm paying for it, but the projects piece alone is like, I don't even I every month when the renewal comes up, I'm like, "Alright, I don't need to pay for this. I survived long time without paying for this." And then I'm like, "But those projects are really good because it adds that context, and, like, it adds a little circle around the context. It's
Hmm.
really just hard to not have that.
Hmm.
So
I'm now paying for both ChatGPT and Claude
see? And that's why I'm not using ChatGPT. I'm like, "I'm paying for one. You got me on one."
because here's where they're getting me is because I am a freelancer, I have so many logins, and
Mhm,
your AI account has to be the same as your HubSpot login.
mhm,
So it's not enough for me to only be able to support one client
mhm,
with one AI tool. So
mhm.
that's why I'm now doing both.
That's fair. That makes sense. It's annoying.
Horrifying thought, horrifying. Had a little session with Nico recently where he was talking about being AI agnostic and basically subscribing to all the tools, having paid licenses to all the tools all the time, which with
I
the
just
number of
feel like
clients I have, it'd be work. No.
this is like the subscription thing. Like, we used to just pay for cable. Like, why and now I have to pay for Netflix, for Hulu, for Disney, for like, what happened? Why do I have to do this? I don't have to do this.
Do you think that there's going to be like cable bundles that come at us
AI
like
bundles?
yeah, I think AI bundles are coming our way.
Let's not say too much on the air. That's an idea, Trisha. You got an idea there. I don't wanna I don't wanna say too much.
I like it.
But um I'm mostly using Claude these days. I use it a lot for my social post. and creating content generally. I do the morning show with George and Chris. We go over all the updates. I send that transcript to Claude. It helps me write like what are the top 5 updates of the day. On my best days, I'll highlight like a video with like the best update of the day. I haven't had a good day in a couple weeks, but it helps me like pick that one. And one thing I really like about it is it helps me be a little bit objective, um, because I I spend so much time in HubSpot, so much time talking about HubSpot that sometimes the like niche updates or like the super geeky updates I get very excited about, but those are not necessarily the ones that most people care or touch or
Do you
anything.
remember once upon a time an update we were so excited about, and Kyle was basically like 3 people were excited about this, and you guys are 2 of them?
That was not Was that the excited one or when we sunset the current now in workflow field
Oh, that
that
was like
doesn't
we weren't excited about it, we were angry about
and
it.
he was like, "Yes," and he was like, "1% of HubSpot users use that field," and I was like, "Probably every portal I'm in, Kyle," but, um, I also use it a lot for client communication. I joke all the time I don't write emails anymore. Um, so that's another piece, and then a lot of account management, which is a lot of what I do is, like, account management T. So I put call transcripts into Claude. Claude helps me write the follow-up emails. Claude helps me write any, like, contracts, scopes of work, anything like that. Um, and then there was something else. Oh, and even sometimes, like, I'll do, like I assign tasks out, and it helps me, like, create those tasks and stuff.
Because you're
What else?
using, Cloud MCP to do project assignments now too, right? Which is pretty
Yeah,
fancy. That
with
is pretty
Value
fancy.
First in the Value First portal, we did a show a couple weeks ago, doing like the thing that I think is the coolest going into 2026 and the thing I hope to do more of going into 2026 is using the Claude MCP to like actually update records. I just did this yesterday too. We had a call. I had Claude using the MCP connector to HubSpot, update the contact records, log the meeting with a summary, and then draft a follow-up email. I did have to click send on that, um, but to be honest, I said I had to. I don't know if I had to. I did, but it's possible. I didn't try for it to. Um, and then the other thing that I do with Chris sometimes is Chris is, building and improving the Value First website, um, and there's some work I'm supposed to do for that. And so I'll have a call with Chris, we'll put the transcript into Claude, and then create tasks for me to create a workflow or a welcome email or, like, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I will say I mean, all of basically what I just described is working in Claude or ChatGPT I could use for, a lot of that. I just don't do that as much anymore. Um, what neither of us talked about is using AI inside of HubSpot.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that at all.
Are are you using AI inside of HubSpot?
Not as much as I use it out well, let's see, is that fair to say? One of all right, here's my thing. The number one way that I use HubSpot or AI inside of HubSpot, which I don't know if anybody's expecting me to say this, is Breeze Assistant.
And how do you use Breeze Assistant?
Because I mean, so vibe coding, that feels
Heard of it?
like a way. This feels like the way that people are moving and the way that AI is moving.
Mhm.
And it's the idea that you change things electronically through conversing with an AI tool.
Mhm.
and you don't have to be a developer to do it.
Mhm.
And it's not there right now, but I do see that Breeze is that for HubSpot, at some point it's going to be that entry point. And I also think that everything that we do with the Cloud MCP now, we're going to be able to use Breeze for in the future. So I'm just
Is
building
it
that muscle now of like every time I start a thing, I start with Breeze. And also back in June, I was freaking out over how many updates HubSpot was releasing and how to how to stay on top of all of them,
how they stay update?
how to stay updated on the updates. And then at some point I realized I don't have to, as long as I'm asking Breeze what's the best way to do this right now.
Mhm.
Oh boy, did it take up a lot of pressure off.
Um, and why are you doing most of your work inside of, um, like, why are you still doing work inside of Claude and not Breeze Assistant?
Oh, because Breeze can't do it all.
I mean, I think yeah, I just wanted to, like,
Yeah,
I don't know,
you
I
you
just
wanted
wanted
to
to,
make
like,
the point. And the other tool that goes hand in hand with that, I don't know if you experience this, but at the same time that I'm asking Breeze, I'm also asking, shout out to Nico, Hub Helper Harry, all the time, all the time still,
my boy.
because they give two different answers.
Mhm,
And often I like Harry's better.
mhm,
But then
and
to go execute a thing, a lot of times I'm going to MCP to do it.
I mean, you mentioned earlier, like, Nico is talking about being AI tool agnostic and being subscribed to all the tools. You said you subscribe to ChatGPT and Claude because you need connections to HubSpot for multiple clients, which makes sense. Um, Another reason I think that Nico is doing it is some tools are better at some things than others. Just the earlier this week, I did, um, I'll show you this after the show, Trisha, because you will definitely laugh. But I had an elf on the shelf um, that I'd seen online. Actually, I can show this probably because this is like it's 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 not actually gonna show anything meaningful. Um, so I had seen something online where people, had Elf on the Shelf. Um, the elf had created coloring pages of their kid, um, and they were, like, personalized coloring pages of the actual kid.
That's
Um,
fun.
yeah, and so I saw it and I thought, "Amazing." I was like, "I should definitely do that. This is right up my alley." I am a big you I'm a big, user of the, um here, let me show you. I'm a big AI user. I'm gonna do this. And here is the idea. Oh, add to stage. Here's the idea. So kid's
Oh,
name,
look at
color.
that.
So I sent this to Claude. Again, I pay for Claude, so I was like, "Oh, I'll do it with Claude." Um, I send this to Claude. I say, "This is the idea." I give it the prompt. I give it some pictures of one of my kids.
Oh man. Well, look at how her hair is like floating above her head. It's not even attached.
So I was like, "Oh, I can't show this because it's gonna show my kid." And I was like, "It's actually not gonna show my
I
kid.
had that
No
same fear.
worries.
I'm like, what are you doing? But I get it.
Not gonna show my
Nope.
kid. So no worries."
No
Um,
worries.
so I showed this to Chris the other day, who had a similar reaction to you because, it's actually hilarious. But Chris was like, "Yeah, you shouldn't do this with Claude." And then I used my free ChatGPT subscription, not paid. Perfect. First
Perfect.
time,
Perfect.
immediately.
Right.
So all of that to say that like I still think HubSpot's AI is and will be better for some things than others. As you mentioned, we work in multiple portals. I use Breeze in Assistant to analyze portal data inside rather than like trying to get it to a different to a Claude or a ChatGPT because of exactly what you're saying, where if we were to do that, I'd need like subscriptions for all of these things for all of my clients, which is just like unsustainable for me right in this moment in time.
Yeah. The most intimidating moment of the last 2 weeks for me was when okay, so Nico and Chris were on a show, and Nico said, "Anybody wants to do vibe coding, like, just ping me. I'll sit down with you. I'll get you started." And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah. Sign me up. I wanna do that." So we sat down, and he's like, "What do you have in mind?" And the type of clients that I work with, they're usually pretty robust portals that have been around a while. They're complex. A lot of times the teams that built them are gone. So the people, like the internal knowledge of why a thing works a way, was built a certain way, like what it even does is completely gone. And it's like, and I'm there because if you touch one thing the wrong way, like there's just this spiral of breakage. So they feel very fragile as well. And okay, so what a thing that I want for all of my portals going into next year is kind of like an alarm system. So if there's a standard deviation in how a property is filled out, and it changes by
Mhm.
more than like 20% in a given day, something
Mhm.
like that. Like I want a list of these workflows that I need to look at, or the properties I need, something. I want something so that I know about it in advance. And the most recent thing came because just the API
Mhm.
between somebody's product, like their actual product, and HubSpot broke, or like, I don't know, a code change. I don't know what happened, but we weren't getting data in the same way that we were. It completely changed, it hallucinated. So I would just like more visibility into that. And and I'm just like, well, I have Claude, I have ChatGPT. Clearly the answer is in one of these. And then Nico starts rocking some like Comet browser. He's like, no, no, you got to use Comet for this on top
Mhm.
of Perplexity, maybe. And
Yeah.
that's where he went and started going to town on the AI agnostic and how you kind of have to have all the tools. And I'm like, and that was my moment of like, oh, my brain is breaking because I kind of don't imagine I'm ever going to be the person that knows every tool the way that he does.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's fair to feel that way. I think it is overwhelming to like have all these tools. And I mean, I just think of like myself. I was not using Claude basically at all. Definitely not this time last year. Maybe even 6 months ago, I wasn't using Claude at all. And then I started to use Claude a little, and I was even like, eh, Claude's not as good as ChatGPT. I don't get the hype. And now I almost exclusively use Claude. So one of my learnings that I will continue to learn because I don't think I like will like internalize this maybe my entire life, but like if you keep trying, you'll get better. That's it.
That is it. That is it. I have a friend who is fearless and very creative, and often does very spur of the moment. So I remember holding the camera for her and being her videographer for one of her
Mhm.
projects years ago, um, which she edited and then put up on Instagram, uh, and it was horrible. It was not great. Like, we weren't it was the wrong time of day to do that kind of thing, like, all kinds of things were not fantastic, but because she just jumps in and gets it done, she's done a thing 10 times by the time I would normally do a thing, because she's just a lot more fearless about getting started and worrying about what the outcome looks like, she's just like, "Go."
Mhm.
Um, so her number 10 is now amazing.
Mhm.
And because she is who she is, like, she's into the hundreds now beyond that first point.
Yeah.
Do it
I
over and over again, you'll get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you? What are you using inside of HubSpot?
So I actually even started to pull this up and then got chatting about something else and then distracted. What I keep referring to this as, like, simple requests is maybe the way I'm framing. Like, I had a client a couple weeks ago who was like, "Hey," like, literally slacked me and was like, "Hey, Casey, can you create these 2 fields on the deal record? I want one of the fields to be, like, likelihood of closing, and the options to be, like, high, medium, low. And then I want the other field to be the, like, predicted close, and then if it's high, do the amount times 90%, if it's low whatever. Um, that's not actually exactly what happened, but you get the point.
Mhm.
Um, and I basically copied and pasted the request to Breeze, and it did it.
Sometimes it does it.
And that's what I mean by, like, simple requests. Can you create a drop down property called on deal called likelihood to close with the options of high, medium, low.
I gave Breeze a list of, like, 17 properties to create,
Mhm.
um, a couple of weeks ago, and it was not great, and I
Did you
think it
give
was
them
'cause
all 17 at one time?
no, I started
Okay.
out with 1 at a time,
Mhm.
and then after it got like, after we had some successes, then I started
Mhm.
giving it, like, 2 at a time, and then at some point, I tried to give it, like, all the rest,
Mhm.
at which point it made up field names, it made up descriptions, like, the whole rest of it made up, and I think that part of the problem is that you can only attach images to Breeze. I feel like if I because it started with a spreadsheet, I feel like if I had been allowed to import the spreadsheet,
Mhm.
it would
Mhm.
have nailed it. So maybe
Mhm.
that's something that will be coming in the near future as well, is just, like, more ways to be able to
Mhm.
interact with Breeze.
Yeah. So I think but it's gonna keep getting better, um, is I guess what I'm trying to say, but stuff like that I will use right inside of Breeze. The other thing I'll use it for, "Hi, my name's Casey, and I talk a lot about lead scoring." I will do my first pass of what a company's lead score should be with Breeze. I'll
Mhm.
just ask Breeze, like, "What should we include?"
Oh, nice.
Most recently, I have taken that and I've brought that into Claude to, like, manipulate because it's just easier, it's a little smarter, um, Claude already knows a lot about, like, my lead scoring methodology, so I was able to do that, but I did my first pass inside of Breeze.
Mhm. My workflow sort of looks like I start with Breeze,
Mhm,
um, and then I'll pressure test it a little bit and see if I can actually like, what I can actually have Breeze do for me, and to the extent it can, I let Breeze do it. As soon as I hit an obstacle, I go hit up Harry and
mhm,
say, "Is are we doing this the right way? Does this make sense?" Sometimes Harry takes me in a different direction. And then whatever I can't get done, obviously Harry can't take any actions.
mhm,
But then like the next step is to try to automate whatever additional steps through ChatGPT, the deep research connector. That's what I have over there on that side. And then on the cloud side, I have the MCP.
mhm,
And then of course there's doing things by hand.
and then, of course
Of course. Then there's good old Trisha Power. Uh, and I feel like that motion right there is setting me up for a ton of success going into next
Mhm,
year because, like I said, I think the future of HubSpot looks like you only interact with Breeze and that Claude and ChatGPT even go away at some point.
mhm, mhm. I do wonder if that is what happens. I mean, that sounds nice to not have to be, like, bouncing between things.
Doesn't that sound nice?
It does. It does. Anything any, like, losses AI losses for the year?
There have definitely been
Standout AI losses.
roads traveled
Mhm,
where it's like net net I lost time
mhm,
trying to accomplish a thing through AI. And I think
mhm,
that those properties is a great example. Is like even being really careful and doing them one at a time to begin with. At the end of the day, I think if I just taken my Excel spreadsheet and put it into well, if I'd started with Claude, probably would have been better.
mhm.
Um, but even if I had typed them in, probably would have been just as fine. I don't know. Stuff like that happens often enough. How about you?
There's a few of the Breeze assistants, most of the Breeze assistants, maybe.
Oh,
Uh,
if we get into the tools, I mean, we haven't really talked about the HubSpot tools.
but most of the Breeze assistants, I would say I'm not, like I had a lot of hope in,
Mhm.
and, they just have they haven't been as automated as I wanted them to be. However, many are now, just in the last couple weeks, available through workflows. You can run them, which I do think has the potential to change a lot of this. I think really a lot of the agents are kind of siloed. Like you have to go over here to the Breeze Studio to access them in a way that just, yeah, it's siloed. I don't really know. That's all. That's all I have to say about it.
Mhm.
Um, so that's one thing, that I think I was looking forward to a lot, and it kinda just hasn't hit the mark for me.
No, no, not at all. So, so of the HubSpot tools, which are you actually regularly using right now?
Pretty much only Breeze Assistant, I would say. If I'm using a dedicated AI tool, it's Breeze Assistant, even if that means I'm using a workflow or anything. Um,
Wait,
I
don't you also use Remix a fair amount?
Oh, you're right, sorry, you were trying to get me there. Lead a horse to water. Ah, I thought of this earlier in the show, and then I just, like, lost it. I just lost it. I love Remix. As some Thank you. Thank you for giving me a platform to talk about Content Remix. I love Content Remix. I literally use it every day. As someone that creates a lot of video content, it makes it very easy for me to turn that video content into, like, text content and other things that may be more palatable for some people's content consumption needs.
Mhm. I That's a big, I wanna use it to remix videos, and I've had very marginal results with it so far. Like, I wanna use it to make shorts. I have had
Mhm.
limited success with it so far. I'm going to be investing more time into it next year and see where I get with it.
Spend more time on it. I agree with you. I make I make clips sometimes from the show using Remix, but I but not really. Like, that's like what I actually do is it's just a path for me to, like, get to a clip, and then I end up editing the clip to be what I want it to be. So,
Mhm,
while I do technically use Remix to create clips, um, I it's way more manual than, like, the blog that I make, that I genuinely just, like, basically click publish.
mhm. Yeah,
Alright.
but stay tuned because that's where those tools are today, or when we tested them this year, and they are
Mhm,
getting better. Um, and I know that they will become more useful. They're just
mhm.
not there yet. But Breeze, I hit it every day. Content Remix, I know that you use it every day. I think those are the big wins for this year.
I agree. I look forward to doing this next year, Trisha, and seeing what we say.
That'll be amazing.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Because I'm always so hopeful. I I can't wish for anything more than, like, when we're having this conversation next December, we're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, it did turn into the thing that we wanted it to turn into." Whether it's one of those agents that we used or if it's the master plan, like you just go into Breeze for everything. Can't wait.
It's gonna be totally different. Whatever it is, it's gonna be totally different.
Yeah.
So, alright.
So, thanks.
Have
It's
a good
been great hanging out with you. I can't wait to do more. It's one of the highlights of my week.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, we'll be back next year. We're gonna keep talking to reps about how they're using HubSpot, and AI tools, with the intention of us learning how we can um, really improve data in HubSpot is really what we're trying to get after because as we all know, AI requires good data. That's it.
Have you been getting targeted with the IBM ads that say, so you want to use AI to something like you want to use AI to report on your data here, there, and everywhere, but your data is here, there, and everywhere. So you can't actually feed anything to AI. I mean, that's where we are right now.
Mhm.
We're bringing it
Um,
together.
yeah, I haven't gotten those ads, but yeah, but that is where we are. Alright,
And
oh,
somebody commented on this post where we promoted this and talked about uh, ChatKit. Have you heard of that?
chat kit?
ChatKit.
Mm-mm.
They're using the call. It sounded like they're using the call recap summaries. I don't have time to pull it up right now. I'm going to be too slow. But anyway, that's my next thing. I was like, what is that? What is ChatKit? He made it sound like it's super useful, and he's a sales guy. So,
Well, we can figure it out.
all right.
Alright. We
Till
will see
next
you next
time.
year.
See you
Have a
next
good
year.
holiday season, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.